know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle, baby. And you know who's in the building. Rich Sizzle's in the building. Jay Sizzle's in the building. G Sizzle's in the building. And baby, you know what we do. We got to bring you the hottest talk of the 219.
Our Skillet Sports presents...
We got to give you everything that you need to know in like 5 minutes. Because you know what we're getting ready to do? The Hot 5 and 5, baby. Oh, fellas, the Hot 5 and 5. Let's run it out real quick. Let's get this popping. Let's get it jumping. Hey, you know who's hot? The Chicago Cubs. Hottest team in MLB. Are they the best team that you've seen so far? Jay Sizzle, what do you think about the Cubs and their hot start?
Just as someone said before, their record says who they are. Look, the 10-2 Cubs are on the push. We got to get this Craig Kimbrough situation ironed out. But, hey, look, they look great, man. In a shortened season, this is the way to start it off.
Topic 2 on the Hot 5 and 5. Listen, The Rock buys the XFL. Yo, Rich Sizzle, is this a good move for the XFL?
Hey, The Rock says, I got money, man. I'm going ahead and break that off. So The Rock and a couple other guys, what were their names? It doesn't matter what their names are. They are getting together to buy out the XFL's bankruptcy. Vince McMahon was going to do it, then he backed out, but I really like this move. I think when you look at a guy like The Rock, he has that background. He's played football. He has the entertainment pedigree. Whatever's going on between him and Vince, hopefully nothing. There's no drama there, but I think he can really accent and move it forward. People were watching the XFL prior to this whole COVID XFL thing going on. So I'm really optimistic he's going to get it going.
Topic 3 on the Hot 5 and 5. Look, Jay Sizzle. Yo, man, Alex Smith is back. Are you excited about football?
Oh, Alex Smith is back. He looks great in a pair of shorts, but I don't never know if he's going to get this helmet strapped up and play. Look, I don't know, man. This guy is a guy who we just don't know. He has all the potential in the world. We just don't know if he's ever going to relate to the field. And I don't even think he's going to get a chance to get out on the field this way anyway. So it is what it is.
Rich Sizzle. Kevin Durant has become a prognosticator and said that he believes that the Clippers will beat the Bucks to win the NBA championship. Are you buying into what Kevin Durant is saying?
Oh, he's putting them chips on that table. And on paper, it doesn't sound like a bad deal. I wonder, one of the side effects to the COVID is confusion. And I'm just not so... I want to make sure that he's not talking about that other LA team, or if he's not talking about that other team just north of Milwaukee, because Toronto looks pretty good right now as well. Coming out of the box, Clippers kind of got their stuff here and there, and the Lakers, one game they're great, the next game, like last night, I don't know what they were doing. Hey, the NBA is up for grabs. The only person I know is not going to win are the Nets, so,
Wow, that's a prognostication. But before we close out this NBA segment, we got to talk about the NBA, and we got to talk about Jonathan Isaac and a lot of things. But Jay Sizzle, who's that AC that's really going to be the competitor in the West right now? You've got Portland, you've got the Pelicans, you got players out there. Who is the AC? Who's the strong AC to you right now?
Well, the team I thought they was going to make some hay out here was Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. That don't look like that's going to happen. Look, I think the Pelicans, they pull it together and actually play Zion Williamson some significant minutes. I think they're to be the ones who can pull it out and make a good run on the back end.
Yo, you know what it is. That was the Hot 5 and 5. We do it every time. We give it to you, the fire flame, every time. But look, fellas, since we're talking about the NBA, let's just jump into it. Let's talk about Jonathan Isaac, NBA player, Orlando Magic player who found a magicless start to his season or reboot to his season. Look, man, he said he wasn't going to kneel. He didn't believe in the T-shirts. And Black Lives Matter everybody. And then he went out and tore his knee up. What do we think about Jonathan Isaac and what's happened and transpired as he's been in the COVID bubble?
Well, I think that in this situation with Jonathan Isaac, look, this is a free country, number one. All right. If this man decided that he wanted to stand, that is his right to stand. You understand what I'm saying? And if we want to have equity in this country, if black people want to be treated equally in this country, then we also have to treat those who decide to think and act differently than what we're doing. We should be able to support that. It's up to him to be able to do what he's now. For anybody who's happy that this man tore his knee up, shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. He did what we want to be able to do in this country, is to espouse what we believe in. And if he believes in that he wanted to stand for the national anthem, he should be able to do that without getting the scorn that he's been getting lately, because I saw a couple of commentators smiling about him that he tore his knee up.
Well, I don't know. Well, first of all, kudos to him for doing what he, like you said, his constitutional, whatever. Kudos to him for standing up and doing what he wanted to do. Now, I read somewhere that he chose to stand and not wear the Black Lives Matter shirt because of his religious beliefs and how that conflicts. I don't remember in the Bible or Quran or whatever religion where it says you're supposed to go with the flow or whatever you want to call it, because maybe a year ago, no one would have thought to kneel on an NBA floor. Kudos to him for that. Where are we going to go with this, though? Now, let's just be honest. No one's tuning into these basketball games. Not really. No one's in the audience for these basketball games. So, of course, you can kind of do whatever you want to make some kind of a small statement. What is going to happen when you're at a crowd of 25,000 people watching, millions of people viewing in like that? Are you still going to be kneeling? Are you still going to be wearing your shirts? I don't know. I can't speak on that. But what I can say is this has come to a point where we are absolutely free from our choices. There's nowhere in the Constitution where it says you got to kneel or you got to stand, or even if you got to play the national anthem for these sporting games. There's nowhere where it says that. But you're not free from the decision that you make. You're not free from what someone's going to say about it. You're not free from the ridicule or the praise of it. And that's where we stand at with it. Like I said, this is all confusing to me now. The COVID has everything all flipped up inside out, because we were just talking about how should we or should we not stand? Let's ask the question. Should we even be bothered with playing the national anthem right now? Let's just face it. In basketball, maybe a quarter of the people on that court, they're not American. In baseball, in hockey, half of the people playing, they're not American. So what do they care? What's going on? They're there to collect a paycheck. They're there to play and not make a fool out of themselves, hopefully, and be on with the rest of their life. So who's really holding on to this national anthem thing?
You know, that's a good question, Rich Sizzle. Who is holding on to it? Is this something that needs to be scrapped, or is this something that we can move past or maybe get around? How do you solve this national anthem situation? As some people have said, it's a situation. How do you walk around this, Rich? How do you get past this point?
I've been scratching my head about it myself, because like I said, I am at a point where I have to ask myself, like, okay, aside from tradition, why are we even doing this, and why are we even debating this? Who made up the thing that we had to stand up and salute and do all these other things? I understand the military stand part of it, you know, with the posting of the colors and the flag and whatnot. But does that have a necessary place in an international sporting event now? Like I said, we're not stopping to play every anthem for somebody that's on that court or on that floor or anything like that. It's just the American and maybe the Canadian when, you know, Canada teams come in. But other than that, what is its purpose? At this point, people are using it to demonstrate or push their own personal or political agendas, and I'm not really with that right now. And when we can't get to the point of playing basketball for the sake of talking about what somebody else is doing and the good or bad karma behind it, it's time to pull the plug completely, in my opinion. Because like I said, you can't pull out handcuffs and arrest everybody for either kneeling or not kneeling. So just take it out altogether and just move on.
You know what, Jay? We've talked about this before in the protest movement. Does this protest, does it help the cause when you're talking about players who are on the court or on the field kneeling? Is this helping the cause, or is it just causing more divide in the country as we move forward with these multiple protests in different sports?
No, what it's done is it brought awareness to what the issues that were going on. That's the reason why they knelt with the national anthem. It really doesn't have anything to do so much with the national anthem, is that it just shows people that this flag that we're flying, that the country that we live in is not supporting us equally like somebody else who's not melanated. That's what the whole issue is all about it. I think they need to continue to play the national anthem every time out. And I think those that want to kneel can continue to kneel, because I think after a while, the protests will die down. I think the thought process that garnered the protest will down now. But this is one thing that every time in any game that's played out here, if you want to kneel down during this period of time, you should be able to, because it brings us right back to this point in time in history so that this doesn't die. Because I really believe if that's the case, that it's going to die after a while.
But where do we go when things start to go back to normal? Because if you think about it, maybe about 20 years ago, when everything started to take God out of the equation, they were even talking about taking the word God out of our money.
Right.
But they never touched the American flag. They never touched anything about our country. And now that's being touched. So, I mean, like I said before, I feel awkward going to banks and liquor stores with my mask on, but that's the new norm now. 20 years ago, I would have been met with a lot of hostility about that. Where do we go, and when things go back to normal, what is normal? When, like I said, you're looking at the NBA and everybody in the NBA has chosen to kneel for the flag, something that has only up until 5 years ago been a complete no-no. My personal feelings about kneeling is I don't kneel for nothing. The only thing I ever knelt for was proposing to my wife. That's it. The only other person I'm going to kneel for is my God, and that is it. But if that's what everybody else wants to do, that's them. Me, if you're asking me, I'm just going to go to the bathroom now and just wait for the song to end.
Well, the whole thing now is that this is post-George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Pre-George Floyd, you didn't have all this kneeling going down. You had a few kneeling. That's the reason why Colin Kaepernick got eviscerated like he did for kneeling, and continued to be eviscerated for years that he kneeled. If you looked at the NBA prior to this, I don't think we saw anybody kneeling before George Floyd. I don't think we did. I don't remember seeing it. So to think about this, I think this is just a lot of herd mentality going on right now. Now it's safe for me to kneel because everybody's kneeling right now. And so because of that, it gives a more cohesive thought process going on about what is actually going on in the United States. Regardless of what anybody says about the United States, it's under this flag that we have these freedoms. Now, all these freedoms are not equal, but if you happen to go to some other countries in other places and you try to say what you say, do what you do, there are some places that will lock you up for saying anything against the government. There are some places that you will get a hand cut off by saying anything against the government. So I'm saying, as bad as we think the United States is, under this flag that flies, we still are afforded the freedoms, not equally all the time, but we are afforded the freedoms to express ourselves.
But goes back to Jonathan Isaac, though. So he gets ridiculed from the NBA world for standing for the anthem. Something that I don't know what to call the norm, or what was, I can't even say the norm, what was asked upon you or required upon you going in. Because if you recall, please rise for the singing of the national, everybody stood up. Now he gets ridiculed and everybody like, nah, you broke your ACL. I mean, man, come on. Like where are we at really with this?
But the whole thing about it was that people don't realize what he was standing for. He wasn't standing for he was anti-Black Lives Matter. He was standing for because I'm standing on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And some of the things that Black Lives Matter is doing or whatever, I don't completely agree with at this particular point. I'm not anti-Black Lives Matter, but I'm standing on the gospel. That's what he said coming out of his mouth. However, though, we should be able to allow that man, if he wanted to stand for the gospel. Are we doing the reverse discrimination now? Is this what's going on? Are we now treating him like Colin Kaepernick because he decided to stand up? You know what I'm saying? This is my whole problem. If you want to be equal, being treated equal, you want to have equity, then you need to give the same with somebody else who doesn't agree exactly with your position, and they show that. You need to give the same respect that you wanted when you were on the other side of that. When pre-George Floyd, when it wasn't popular to kneel down, when you had guys being ridiculed, guys getting ready to get kicked out of the league, owners calling them different names behind their backs. Now all the owners, because of the COVID-19 and everything else, they have to go along with this. They have to have Black Lives Matter on the court right now. Why are they doing that? Because of the money situation. And because now they see this is what they need to do. So what I'm saying is give this man the same respect that you wanted if you were on the other side of this.
You know what? We're going to leave it right there for right now, because this is a topic I think that we're going to keep coming up with, and we're going to keep broaching the subject as social movement and social dissidence and social reform keeps moving forward. But you know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. Please make sure that you're following and liking us. You subscribe and you share. Make sure that you're following Iron Skillet Sports on any social media platform, and you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, any tube that you want to find us. You know you can find us there. You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. We'll see you on the other side.